Hello and welcome to the Porcelain Dawn channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing First Man in Rome by Colleen McCullough. Hello! And as I said, today I'm going to be reviewing the historical fiction book First Man in Rome by Colleen McCullough, or McCullough. I've heard that before. I think McCullough is the most common, so I'm going to say McCullough, but apologies if it's the incorrect pronunciation. So, First Man in Rome is the first book in her historical fiction series set around the Roman Republic, the later Roman Republic, and the series is called Masters of Rome. So I picked up this book, being a huge fan, obviously. I know it's meme-worthy, of ancient Rome, imperial Rome, republican Rome, but most of classical history, you know, the Greeks, the Persians, things like that. That's really right up my alley. I love it. So I picked up this book and I really enjoyed it. Now, I'm going to put a few caveats in this. I'm a history fan, but not a history scholar. So certain events, I can tell if they were done correctly on the macro level, you know, in terms of dates and what went down, etc., etc. But on the micro level, on the nuance, on the character level, I can't tell you if it's accurate portrayals or things like that. So it could be completely, not completely because I know a little bit, but it could be largely historical nonsense, a baloney that she just made up. But I don't think so. But then, you know, I wouldn't be the one to judge. But yeah, this is a really enjoyable read. It starts with, it's basically the story of Gaius Marius, a wealthy a wealthy patrician with no Greek, you know, a hayseed, a hick, if you will. That's how he's seen in Rome. He's a very wealthy country bumpkin, even though he's from just up the road from Rome, and he does speak Greek. But he's in his middle age. He's very wealthy, and he decides to try to make something of himself in the political sphere, and that's what the title alludes to. First Man in Rome is what they would call the preeminent person. You know, obviously they have the senators and the equestrians and the patrician class, and the first man in Rome is kind of like the most important or the most powerful man in Rome. And at the start of this book, Gaius Marius is just a wealthy man. He doesn't really have that much import other than the import money brings. And yeah, this is him trying to make his way up the ladder. The cursus honorum, I guess it's called, the Roman political ladder. And next you have Sulla also, who's in this book, Lucius Cornelius Sulla, who's very young in this book. He's a big player in Roman history, and he is in this book a little bit. You have the Julian faction, you know, the progenitors of Gaius Julius Caesar. They're in this book a little bit. I don't know if there's names that most people will recognize, but there's names that quite a few people would recognize. You know, anybody who knows the briefest part about Roman history, there are quite a few big names in here. It's kind of a well-known and exciting period. And I feel like it's really well written. Not in the terms of prose. The prose is a little dry. It didn't bother me because it's a very historical text and it's way less dry than a historical text. But I really enjoyed the way the characters were fleshed out. You know, as I said, I can't speak to whether they were accurately fleshed out based on the little information we have of them, but I felt that they were very well realized. You know, they all felt like real characters with real motivations, real hypocrisies, especially the women who were in historical texts. They were, you know, an afterthought. They were barely in it a lot of the time. So a lot of the women in this were really well fleshed out. But then, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't know if the fact that they weren't fleshed out in the text, in the historical texts that much, makes it easier to flesh them out because you don't have to worry about contradictions, or makes it harder to flesh them out because you have nothing to go on. I don't know, but it's an interesting thought that just came to me. Yeah, I think she does a really good job, McCullough. I think she does a really good job in marrying the history with the drama, because anybody who knows anything about Republican Rome or ancient Rome in general, after a certain point, is that it's Game of Thrones times 20 in terms of political machinations and backstabbing and plotting and things like that. And that is just really evident here. And as the book series goes on, I imagine, because as time went on, it got even worse. But it keeps you hanging, it keeps you interested. It's very, even me who knows the history, who knows what happens, who knows what happens to Marius, who knows what happens to Sulla, who knows what happens to Julia, all these things. Um, e- Even though I knew what was going to happen, I was really enjoying getting there, and I was on the edge of my seat looking to see how we would get there and how it would come out, etc. So I think that's a testament to how uh, well written this book is in terms of entertainment. And I don't want to say that it's just an entertaining book. It does. It's entertaining whilst it's also educational. At the very least, it educates you about the stratification of Roman society, about how the economy more or less works, how the client system more or less works. And I think this is a easy recommend for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading the second and the third and so on. Um, any Roman fans should read this. Any fans of reading who want to learn more about Rome, anybody who reads genre fiction and thinks, "Oh, I'd like to try something else." This is a really fun book, and you feel less guilty when you're sat on the sofa reading for 3 hours than you normally would, because you're also learning something. So that's a double winner. Yeah, great book, great book, and yeah, I can't wait to get to another one. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really hope you enjoyed this review. I'm sorry it's short, but yeah, not much to say other than it's really well done, really well done. Yeah. Anyway, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.